Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing 10 cards with one kit. This is the Love from Lizi July 2018 card kit. Lots to do, so we're going to jump in with our first project. Now this is I believe it's an oyster colored pearlescent cardstock. I'm just going to cut out a scalloped panel here. Once we have that done, we are going to create our little background. This is the size of the scallop panel. I left it up there for you. But I'm going to pop up my little sentiment. It says with love using some foam squares. Lizi's kit this month came with 2 sheets of foam squares, which is perfect for the decoupage. Now unfortunately Lizi's kit did sell out, but the good news is the first 8 cards that I'm making today is made with the decoupage, and Lizi does sell the decoupage individually. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave links below for you. But decoupage was so fun. I know at Christmas time I did some cards with Merry Christmas, and I loved it. And this is where I got a real fun idea to do these cards. Now not only am I making cards, but I'm going to make little gift bags to go with them that coordinate beautifully. So I just popped up, I kind of skipped the step, but I did trim out a little piece of the wave in the decoupage and extended my little ocean scene, and then popped up my other decoupage piece, set it on my panel, and now I'm just layering the little pieces. 1, 2, 3, I believe in number 4. Everything just punches out beautifully and easily, and it creates a beautiful layered scene. So once I have that done, this is where I decided I'm not going to use the with love sentiment. We'll save that for another card. But I did use the Let's Celebrate from Lizi's stamp set. I thought it went perfect, and I kind of wanted to create gift bags that were kind of universal. So the Let's Celebrate was perfect. I'm just inking it up with VersaFine ink, stamping it towards the very top, and then we need some pattern paper. So I grabbed the polka dot pattern paper, and the pattern paper that I'm using here today, Lizi has in her shop individually also. So it will be easy to recreate with the decoupage and the pattern papers. But I'm just adhering this panel to an A2 size card base. And then I'll go ahead and use my tape runner and adhere this panel right in the center. Decoupage is so easy peasy to create fast and beautiful cards. Now to give these a little few bells and whistles, I decided to use the wood veneer accents that came with Lizi's kit this month. There's a little ship stern and then anchor. I added that to my card. Now here's the gift bags. Now the gift bags I purchased at Walmart. There's 10 in a pack for about $5, and they were the perfect size. And so I'm just taking that leftover decoupage. Usually for all of my 8 bags, I use the main piece for the bags, and then used the secondary pieces of the decoupage for the card. But I'm taking a piece of the bannered paper here. It has real pretty glitter accents, and this is actually a 4x6 piece. And this is the leftover polka dot pattern paper. I wanted to create a banner underneath my little scene, but I wanted it to be a little bit longer. So I'm kind of cheating, and I'm going to cut it in half, adhere the very top to my bag, and then the bottom piece I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, just extending it. And then when I adhere my main decoupage piece right in the center, you can't even tell that it wasn't a continuous piece. Okay, now this is the last piece of the leftover decoupage. To add a little dimension to my bag, I'm going to add that on my little scene. That's actually the one that I cut out the waves from the bottom. Now Lizi's kit came with some Simply White Nuvo crystal drops, but I didn't want to look like snow in the background, so I grabbed some Nuvo crystal drops from my stash. This is White Blizzard, and I'm just going around adding dots in my background on my card and then on my little scene on my bag. But here we go. You have a nice little gift bag, you add tissue to you, and then you have a nice little coordinating card. These are so nice. I'm a gift giver, so these are so nice to have on hand and in your stash. when you just want to add a little gift, you just throw it in there, write your message in your little note card, and you're good to go. So here's the card number 2. I didn't go through the step-by-step process because it was kind of redundant. I used the frame in this decoupage sheet, popped up the happy birthday right on top, but for the background I added some polka dots with Lizi's bubbles stencil that came in the kit, and then added my green pattern paper. Added multicolored. I used twisted citron and also picked raspberry for my bokeh background in the on the bag there. They're Distress Oxide inks. But that's card number 2. Creates fun and easy, and I created my banner the same way I did with card number 1. But here's card number 3. I did my little layering, added my Just For You sentiment, and then used a strip of the pink pattern paper, and I added 3 peel-offs, or actually 2, to the left and to the right of that center pattern paper. Popped up a few of my little elements, and then I did add a wood veneer starfish up there, just for little bells and whistles. And then for the bag, I used that same pattern paper for my background. I cut out again a 4x6 inch piece. This was the leftover, and then added this cute little bow that coordinated perfectly, and then added the leftover pieces of decoupage, and then the fishtail banner was the pink pearlescent cardstock that came in Lizi's kit. And you can see on the very top there I added a wood veneer seashell, but they coordinate beautifully, and it's a nice little Just For You gift bag and card. Here's a close-up. Okay, for my 4th card, I love this little beach scene, but I used Lizi's cardstock that came in the kit. There was a real pretty blue and some red cardstock. I just trimmed them down and placed them on my card. The sun die here was one from my stash. I just added a little bit of color with my fossilized amber, and then I did use my little cloud stencil that I had in my stash to create just a little bit of a subtle cloud background. But that's my card, and then here's my little gift bag. Again, I used the blue and the red cardstock from Lizi's kit, placed that the full length of my bag, and then I used the little ribbon that came in Lizi's kit. I just doubled it up and tied a bow. I did a little bit of layering on the bag and then on my card. It was the perfect amount and perfect. Just love the way this turned out. Here's card number 5. Now this, I used the blue cardstock in Lizi's kit, but I wanted to create more of a teal color, so I added some peacock feathers to accent it, just to darken the blue a little bit. Used the same peacock feather Distress Oxide ink and created my polka dot background with Lizi's bubble stencil. Popped that up, placed that on my card base. Oh, for the sentiment, I used a sentiment, Happiness Comes in Waves. It was from Lizi's stamp set. And I stamped it first with the peacock feathers, and then I shifted it a little bit with, stamped it again with my VersaFine ink. But here's my little bag. I decided to use the stencil on my bag, and it worked beautifully to create those little polka dot effects. And then added a banner with the leftover piece of the banner pattern paper. And that's it for card number 5. Now for card number 6. I just added a striped banner behind my decoupage piece here and added a few little layers. I did accent it with the Simply White Nouveau crystal drops that came in Lizi's kit this month. And then for my bag, again I added the same pattern paper as the banner, and then I just use Pick Raspberry using the bubble stencil. And then the stripe paper, again I just cut it in half to extend the length, and then place my decoupage piece right on top. And that one came with 2 sentiments, so both my sentiments were popped up. But that's it for card number 6. So easy to recreate, but I thought it would be so fun to create a matching gift bag. For card number 7, I used a circle die to cut out a little bit larger circle than my decoupage element, and I just cut off the excess that was hanging over. Added a few little accents with the Simply White Nuvo Crystal drops. Added a few layers, and this was the main piece. I used the leftover paper and added it to my bag, and then added Lizi's peel-offs right around the edge there for a little bit more shimmer. Used the ribbon that was in Lizi's kit to tie a bow on the very top. And then any leftover decoupage pieces, I did the extra layering on the gift bag. So fun. I could do this all day. This was so fun for me. But for card number 8, I used the second piece in the decoupage sheet. It wasn't the main piece. And so to create a little bit of a halo behind my little scene, I used worn lipstick, Distress Oxide, and then to tone it down a bit, I used some Vintage Photo, just what was left over on my blending tool. I added a few sequins for a little bit of shimmer, and then for my gift bag, I used Lizi's Pearlescent cardstock. I did create a scallop edge on the very bottom, and then added some peel-offs down there for a little shimmer. I added some sequins, and then that cute little ice cream pattern paper as a banner, and that finishes off card number 8. Love the way these turned out. Now, for card number 9, we're going to make a card here. I'm just trimming down a piece of this cute little pattern paper. And I love the little puffins on there. They are just adorable. But this was an actual ephemera piece that came in Lizi's kit. So I'm going to put it to good use. I thought about using the orange ribbon and didn't change my mind. But I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this panel to my card base. It's going to leave me a little bit of a white border. I'm trimming this stripe paper to a 2-inch strip, and I was going to offset it, but eventually I'm going to place it directly in the center of my card base. Now to make my ephemera piece pop a little bit, I'm taking a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to cut out a scallop circle. I went ahead and adhered that to my ephemera piece, and I'm going to create a tag. So I'm using my Crop-A-Dile. I'm going to punch a hole, and then I'm just going to grab a white eyelet and set that in there, and then using some white jute cord from my stash, I doubled it up and then tied a little bow at the very top. Now I'm going to trim off the excess here, and then I'll add a little bit of tape. And then here's where I decided to put it in the center. So I'm going to stick it down, and then I'll readjust it just a bit, and then flip this over and add foam tape behind here. Add a little dimension to our card, and place that right in the center. All we have to do is trim off the tails of our twine. And then I did add a few of the sequins that came in this month's kit. There were some small little orange ones, and I added 5 of them around my panel just for a little bit of shimmer. And that completes card number 9. Now, excuse me, for card number 10, oh, I love the stamp set. It is fantastic. This is a endless or never-ending stamp set. So I decided to do something special with it. So I'm taking some Judikins embossable window plastic and placing it in my stamp platform. And then I am going to do some embossing with this beautiful stamp. I've never worked with this before, so or any never-ending stamp, so I was so excited to get to play with this. But I'm going to use my anti-static pattern tool. It's a must when you use the embossable window plastic. Otherwise you get static dots everywhere. I'm going to go over my image or my stamp with my Versamark ink, making sure I get it really good. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And it just stamps beautifully. I'm going to carefully remove my plastic, and then I'm going to go over the very top of it with some white embossing powder, and you'll be able to see the beautiful image here. It's just gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun and melt that embossing powder. And I missed a little spot, so I'm actually going to stop melting it and then add a little bit more of the embossing powder. There we go. Just so it's a nice, beautiful, crisp image. And I went ahead and melted it. Now I'm going to do another layer. Now, lining it up is pretty easy, but I was trying not to get my head in the camera view. So I got it offset just a little bit, but not too bad. So I'm basically going to do the same thing, use my anti-static powder tool, go over the bottom, and this time I'm just going to use my Versamark ink, ink up just the very top portion of my stamp, and I'll stamp that, move my magnet a bit. Okay, now my lines just in a few spots weren't connecting, so to fix that, it was an easy fix really. If you have a Versamarker pen, it works perfect. You can't see here what I'm doing because of my lighting, but I'm just attaching the lines with my Versamarker, and it was so easy to attach. I went ahead and added some white embossing powder and went ahead and melted it, and you can see here how it's so pretty. I actually played with this and created I have a scrapbook that I'm making for my girls, and I had created a background using the stamp set, and it was just so pretty. I should have showed you guys a picture, hindsight. But anyway, back to the card. My intention was to color in the front part with my Copic markers. I used some very bright colors, a blue, a pink, a green, and an orange. And when I finished up here, I thought, wow, I love the colors in this, but my intention was to flip it over and use the reverse side. So there was a lot of white, and I really kind of liked the colorful look better. So I'm going to actually use the front part here. The Copics didn't color as smooth as I wanted, but the outcome I think turned out so pretty. But I just created a frame. This frame is going to fit my card front perfectly. Trimmed off the excess there. Now for this card we're going to make a shaker. I wanted to use that little bag of sand there. So I'm going to add some foam tape. Usually for my shakers I don't double up on my foam tape unless I'm adding, I want it to shake quite a bit, but usually for full frames I just use a single layer. But I'm going to remove the release paper and then add my little sand. I'm going to add the entire bag. I wanted this to fill in the entire background. I didn't want it to have a white background since there was a lot of white going on in the front. And here's where I decided to double up on my foam tape. So carefully I'm adding another piece and just making sure that my ends meet up very well, because you don't want that sand leaking out. And then this way I can take a piece of white cardstock and press down that sand, and it fits the entire inside beautifully. Now the sand from the bag is a little bit wet, but if it does dry, it dries shakeable. So I'm just going to remove the release paper, and I kind of made a little mess down there in that corner. And then I'm going to add my card base. Just lining it up and pressing it down, and it's covered my entire card front. And actually the sand kind of made it very heavy, so you'll probably need extra postage with that sand because of the weight of it. But I'm going to stamp the Let's Celebrate from Lizi stamp set. I'm just going to trim it down, and then I decided to create a tag with this as well. I had my crocodile out and my eyelets. For this tag I decided to use a pink eyelet. So I'm just going to add that, and then I doubled up the twine, added foam tape behind my little tag. I did fishtail the end there. And then I'm going to place that directly on my card base. Now all I have to do is tie a bow with the twine and then trim off the tails. Now right now the sand is covering the entire background of my card, but when the sand dried, the sand dropped a little bit, so you could shake it, and that's the nice thing about it. But that finishes off card number 10. Beautiful stamp set, and that's available at Lizi's shop too. I don't know if I told you that or not, but Lizi released it early for you guys if you're interested. But here's a look at the 10 cards that I made using the Love from Lizi July 2018 card kit. Love the decoupage, and again, it is available. Links will be below in the description area. But these were so fun and so easy to create. I thought it'd be a nice little idea for you guys. Okay, and my little shell card here. My heavy shell card. And then here's the gift bags. 8 gift bags that coordinate. A fun idea. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope your weekend's going well. Thank you for all your lovely comments. I appreciate them so much. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you again soon.